Hi crew, and today on this week's Hot Chocolate Chronicles, I'm going to be giving you an update about why you haven't seen any videos this week and a few other things, as well as the main topic today is what does the Zelda Amiibo mean to me specifically in gaming. And, before we get started, I just wanted to give a special shout out to my friend Anthony because I was well enough to shoot video yesterday, but he came over for the last time in my life, and maybe I'll still be your friend online, but he's moving out of the area about like 8 or 9 states away, and it was fun yesterday to spend the one of our last days together. But I'm gonna miss you, bro. That's just how it is. But life, that's life in a nutshell. People come in your life, people go out of your life. But luckily, with online stuff, you could still be connected. And that's a lot of how I have my friends with you guys, and that's why I'm doing this. Hot Chocolate Chronicles is so we can have this kind of online community where we can just chat about things and talk about what's going on in life and the universe and everything, as well as just talk in general. So for let's begin and share a drink together.
Locked on target.
Ugh, man, that hot chocolate is good. All right, so the reason why I haven't been uploading any videos is, well, I haven't had. I was sick, and me and my toilet got reacquainted very much. I couldn't spend probably more than 15 minutes away from the toilet for about a day and a half. Now, that doesn't sound that bad, but also keep in mind, it pretty much, I was watching the baby during this time as well, so I was super drained. So when I finally got unsick, I still was super tired. So every time I had the chance, I still took a nap. And then there was events like in my wife's life that I had to watch the baby for, and during the times that I usually recorded and whatnot, so I couldn't record and whatnot. And even now, this is kind of a weird time because my wife has taken the baby, and I'm taking advantage of the time to do the recording. But this is Saturday. I'm actually recording it live today. That goes up, but it's not usually like that. Usually I record it like a day before, typically, because I like to be a day ahead on my recordings. But yeah, you guys are getting the live today update news on Hot Chocolate Chronicles. I'm up to 37 subs last time I checked, and 1,800 views. So I'm going really par for the course for my goal of 50 subs by 2,500 views. And I'm almost done writing up the first episode of Target Analysis, and I'm like halfway done writing up the first episode of Locked on Target Show proper, my space odyssey, if you will, that also involves reviewing video games. I'm super excited. I'm super pumped for that. I am so excited for that. I have help from my friends Anna, hopefully Aylis, and I'm still looking for a few other people that I want to fill other roles in the cast, but Anthony was going to be one of them, but he's moving away, so it is what it is. All right, so let's get into the Amiibo, because that's what the majority of the people are here probably for at this point in this series. So my feelings on Zelda is pretty unique, as I mentioned last week. Zelda to me is all about mystery, okay? And mystery encapsulated by gaming. And you're probably like, well, why not wisdom or anything like that? What you can learn from games and whatnot. Well, think about what you actually know about Zelda, okay? Think about it. But she is pretty much, most people know what Zelda looks like, whether you're a gamer or not, okay? Mario is the same way. Mario, bam. Link, you know who he is. Pikachu, you know who he is. But if you show a gamer Zelda, or a non-gamer Zelda, they still will know, like, oh, that's probably Princess Zelda. You know what I mean? But what do we really know about this girl? I don't know. Like, I know that she grows up differently in every timeline. I know that, sometimes Link's Awakening, she doesn't even show up. You know what I mean? Like, that, that's kind of a thing in gaming right now is she's a blank slate, and Hyrule Warriors wanted to play with this. And the first interesting thing she does is turn into Sheik. You know what I mean? And I think the Ocarina of Time has really defined this role as well as Skyward Sword. And that's one of the most interesting things is while Link has this default like hero persona, Zelda, because she doesn't really have a defined role, she just has to be wise in some way. We get Tetra, we get I forget her name for Skyward Sword because I just don't even you know what I mean? I would argue that Midna, even though Zelda proper shows up, I would argue that Midna fulfilled the role of Zelda in that game. Even though, again, Zelda does show up, and I don't want to like super ruin the end, but that's kind of a thing. In Ocarina of Time, she's Sheik, so she has this diverse understanding all in one person, and that's crazy to me. Is that in every iteration of The Legend of Zelda, I always look forward to what they're going to do with Zelda because it's a mystery. She's not this like princess that stays in a castle or whatever. She's always involved in the world in some way, a little bit more than what you think. Now, I will say this. Mystery in games in general is one of the things that I love in games. I don't like knowing everything when I go into a game. Like, I just played through a Living Story module in Guild Wars 2. It's like Echoes of the Past or whatever. And I got to meet Ogden Stonehenge, or Stonehealer, not Stonehenge, Stonehealer, in there. And Ogden was one of your party members back in the days of Guild Wars 1. So I'm like, what's happened in 300 years? Oh my gosh. And I'm geeking out. And I'm like, there's all these books and whatever, that's happened. And I'm like, like, where are the other dwarves? Where are you guys? And I know that sounds like super fantasy, whatever, but like the dwarves turn themselves to stone, like living animated stone to go battle this primordial evil. And they haven't been heard from for 300 years. And they were one of the core races you kind of interacted with in Guild Wars 1. So, at least in Prophecies and Eye of the North. So I'm like, what's going on? What's going on with you? Like, I want to know where are the dwarves and what are they doing? Because Ogden is the last one on the surface. And, like, it's this huge mystery to me and the gaming community in general. If you follow Guild Wars lore, we know they're down fighting the dragon Primordius, but, like, underground. But where are they? And I'm interested to find out what the heck's going on. Guild Wars does this in general. Like, okay, so Quetzals are another race, okay, in the game. Quetzals in Tyria. Oh gosh, I don't want to make this all about Guild Wars, but this is Guild Wars and me are like this, okay? So I'll just use this example from Guild Wars. Quetzals are this bird-like race, okay? In Prophecies, you fought them. And Factions, which is another continent away, Cantha, there's actually this lore how the Quetzals and the humans kind of got together. And it's, if you know Greek lore, it's kind of like how the centaurs in ancient Greece were friends of the humans. And then all of a sudden, bam, like in the Romans, they were enemies. Just how like fawns were revered as good critters, wise, kind of noble in Greek culture, but in Roman culture, they were seen as useless and party animals and pranksters. So, like, it's kind of that shift from Prophecies to Cantha or Factions. and that's what I like. But in Tyria, where Prophecies takes place, the Quetzal have become a society, and their actual main city, and they become at peace with humans again. Their actual main city is right next to the main city in Guild Wars 2. So you have this huge map, right, in Guild Wars 2, and right smack dab in the middle of it, there's an area like this that you can't explore. Right next to Lion's Arch, which is the main area in the game. And it's the Quetzal major city. But that, like, they're at peace with humans, but they don't really want to, like, let humans in. And it drives me nanners, because I've always loved the Quetzals. I always wanted to play as a Quetzal. When Guild Wars 2 came around. And if they ever let me play as a Quetzal, oh my gosh, I'm re-rolling a lot of my characters. It's just going to happen. But, like, they have this rich history, like, that I just love. And it's not like... It's like Native American and Old Centaur Greek mythology combined. And that's the core of what I love about... I really love the mystery in games. I love when games surprise me. Okay? And this doesn't happen very often. TV shows sometimes surprise me. But games are not very subtle. Spec Ops The Line wasn't subtle, but I didn't see how they were going to twist. Just as an example. I've got to say, though, if you really want to have your brain kind of blown, watch a show called Steven Universe. And at episode 50... you'll have the craziest thing happen to you. You'll be like, what? And then you'll rewatch the whole series. Well, at least I rewatched the whole series. And I'm like, no, duh. How did I not see that? But I knew how the world works again. Oh, and if you're a Steven Universe fan, just a heads up, now that you're like so far in the series, watch the series again, because it just makes 10 times more sense. Like, there's so many... The show is so well thought out that even if you watch the show, there's things in the past you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, in episode 1, there's when Steven grabs all the kitty cat or sandwiches, kitty sandwiches, or kitty cat ice cream, whatever they're called. I've failed my fandom right now. But the glow ring is in the freezer, which doesn't show up till like episode 7 or something like that. Like little things like that I'm like, they actually had a plan. But anyways. But yeah, that's my recommendation, and that's what I love about games. It's just the sense that we're not afraid to throw in some mystery into games, and mystery is always one of those things that drives me. I want to know. I want to explore. I am the scholar who has to know everything and know like why the centaurs are at war with the humans now. And that's another thing that drives me crazy about Guild Wars 2 is they kind of give like these one sentence explanations where like, why are the centaurs at battle with the humans when centaurs, by and large, from my experience, were at peace with humans, besides like the rogue tribes in Maguma jungle, but like in Alona, Sun Spears and centaurs made peace. That's another expansion. Why are we now at this huge war? And where in the world are centaurs getting all their troops from that we can kill millions and millions and millions on them while leveling up in the Cretan Peninsula? I just don't understand the conflict in Guild Wars 2, if that makes sense. So, like, that's more of my... That's a bad mystery in my eyes, all right? So there's good mysteries, like, that drive the player to play, like, the dwarves. Or, like what Zelda's going to be. Or who is Sheik. You know what I mean? Then there's like bad mysteries in games where it's like, you're never going to tell me, and this doesn't make sense. From a perspective of someone who has played these games for a very long time. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't fit in. It goes out of character. And then you're like, Oh, that shouldn't be like that. So, that's starting to show up in games, which kind of makes me exciting that the storytelling is getting on par with. We are starting to realize that this is how gaming worlds work, and like this is how this particular universe people should react and whatnot. So, I'm kind of excited that we're kind of starting to get into that. But before we get going, let's just share another drink. Oh man, that is good. So again, we got one more week on the Amiibos, and then I'm really not sure what I'm gonna do as topics for Hot Chocolate Chronicles. I got plenty, to tell you the truth. I'm thinking about doing a kind of half response about my opinion on. I don't really want to do that. I'll just figure it out. You know what I mean? So, I don't really want to do women in gaming and like this whole Anita thing because the more you talk about it, the more press it gets and the more people learn about it. And I believe right now the whole situation is negative. It's not a positive. So, I'll figure out something to do with Hot Chocolate Chronicles. I know I'll have something special in store, and I'll tell you more about it next week. But starting this week, we are going to have videos again. Woohoo! Because I have time, and we're going to do that. But another thing is, if you guys could pray for our finances and whatnot, because starting June, which is, I think, next month, I'm so bad with months right now. My wife's hours are kind of up in flux because both of her clients are gone, like moving out. So she has like no hours on the schedule. And so we're trying to kind of trust God because if she doesn't get like 45 hours ish or 47 is what we calculated, we can't make ends meet, which means I need to find a job some way. And that's going to make life hectic and finding time to do this a lot more strenuous. But I still want to at least keep up a video a week or a video a day of like Let's Plays and this while I can. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until we meet again, stay on target.